What's up, guys? Check it out. We have here a nice dried flower patch for 2026. Boom. We got a little bit of weeds popping up, but it's alright. Still looking nice out there. And we'll kind of go through it and see if we can identify all of the flowers in here. So we went down a YouTube K-hole this winter, watching all of the really popular YouTube flower farms, and decided to grow a patch of our own with dried flowers in mind. So stuff that we can pick, dry up in the loft of the barn, and then put in bouquets in the wintertime. And right here we have calendula, and this is actually more of a medicinal plant for us. And calendula is just good for so many different things, but we make it into a salve by soaking it in olive oil. And so we put it on the skin. Calendula salve is supposed to go where the sun doesn't shine. So in the armpits, under the breasts and the crotch area. So it's a solar and a jovial plant. And so yeah, it's how you bring the sun to the areas of your body which don't get much sun. And calendula flowers are like really, they give a lot. I mean, and they're a really powerful plant. And they got that bright orange, almost fluorescent orange color. Just a really cool flower. And they get that resinous substance that cannabis users would like. It would kind of like, you know, get them going to take a toke. But yeah, we use it for salves, and we use it on the skin for the reasons I said. Hi, I got my little farm gnome here, Lily. How's Lily doing? Come here and be in the video. But right here we got Tulsi, or holy basil. This is going to seed. Still smelling really good, but we harvest a bunch of this Tulsi and put it in the drying racks and can it up for tea. So holy basil is one of the sacred herbs of Ayurveda, the Vedic form of the integral medicine. It integrates herbalism, astrology, yoga, philosophy, all the stuff, all the good stuff into a health system and an ancient health system. But this is one of the top herbs in it, is holy basil. And gomphrena right here, this is an interesting one. This is going into the dried flower hanging station I put up in the barn, and they weren't really doing much for a while. They were really small, but now they're starting to get taller and have a lot more blooms, and you can kind of see them more as a how they'd be valuable as a dried flower in their form right now. But gomphrena, have never experienced this one until this year, and it's a cool plant. This guy right here, this blue guy or gal, is called Statice, and this is a really interesting one right here. I've never really seen a flower that grows this way, and there's a lot of grass weeds down here right now, the end of the season, coming into the end of August. But this Statice plant, when you plant it, it just kind of grows out horizontally and covers the ground and really doesn't do anything for a while. It's like when you grow it for the first time, you're like, is is this thing on? Is this thing working, right? But when it starts to grow, it's so interesting because the stalk looks kind of like a cactus or something, and then it has these blue and white flowers, and then when it flowered I could see it as a dry flower. And so we got a bunch of status up in the barn loft. Drying was probably the #2 producer so far, and yeah, super interesting flower, and I loved watching it grow. Right here, orange celosia. We've typically grown a few plants of the pink celosia, but wow, check out that color. But the orange, I'm really surprised and happy with how it's looking now. It wasn't doing that much in the early season, but it's really putting some length on now, so you could see how this would work as a dry flower with that length. And you know, we'll be cutting them down here, hanging them upside down, so you could kind of almost picture them hanging in a barn, a really nice barn somewhere in the North Country of New England, as a dried flower. So that orange celosia, I don't know, I really love orange flowers this time of year. And when the sun is starting to hit different and the landscape's turning golden, this is just very appropriate. We have the pink celosias, super cool. I'm a little more used to them, so I'm like less excited for some reason, you know. Right here we have our cosmos, and these aren't a dry flower, they're a flower for now. And my wife Wendy's been making some really nice arrangements of the cosmos and all the zinnias we have in here, and making a lot of nice arrangements on all of our tables. So we've had, and we've been blessed with a lot of beautiful flowers this summer. We have these marigolds, Margie's marigolds, and we got these seeds from our old neighbor in North Carolina, probably over 10 years ago at this point, and we're still going with it. It is a nice marigold. This right here, which is pretty much done, unfortunately, is the straw flower, but the straw flowers produce so much, and this has been the #1 producer for the dried flower hanging station in the barn that I've been talking about. So these straw flowers, some people call them everlasting straw flowers, and they call them that for a reason, because they produced a lot quick, and the harvest went on basically all summer up until early August. We still got, here's one of the red ones, and here's the pink one. That's a pretty good representation of it. But our barn, our hanging lines that we have up in the barn, it's probably at least half of these straw flowers. We have another type of straw flower right here. This one's called salmon, and really interesting flower type. Like, really is a big plant, and less productive, way less productive than the pink everlasting straw flower, but these salmon ones are something special. They're real pretty, and so yeah, and an interesting plant. I'm finding myself repeating that over and over again. I guess I like growing flowers. So sunflowers are basically cooked. We have this Pro White sunflower that we like to grow that does pretty good for an early season one. And then these ones, most of these back here are seeds that we saved from a really prolific sunflower that I named. And it didn't really do as good this year as it did in previous years. It usually pops up like a mammoth sunflower and makes about 50 or 60 heads. The ones that I saved the seed from had about 60 heads on them, and I named it Argus for that. Mercury slays Argus, the sort of like drone with many heads. So I named it Argus. But it didn't produce quite as well as it has in years before. This one over here is still doing pretty well. But we'll keep it going and plan it out next year and see what happens. And down here we have all these zinnias, really beautiful flowers, but I'm not sure of a lot of the varieties because it's more of my wife's thing. But this one I got from Peace Seedlings. It's called Rainbow Eyes, and that is a really unique zinnia. And yeah, I buy a lot of really interesting stuff from Peace Seedlings in the Pacific Northwest because they grow really far out stuff. Look at that, that's called Rainbow Eyes. And we have lots of other zinnias coming down the row, but that is the dried flower plot for 2026. It's our first year doing a dried flower plot, and I think I'd call it a success, guys. I think we did pretty good. I'll have to make a separate video about our flower drying area, but that's it for right now, guys. The Everlasting Straw Flower and the Status have been the best performers, but all these flowers are just a delight to behold and a delight to grow and even be around. So we'll be doing it again next year in 2027. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.